What's up, y'all? So I've got this concept, this idea, or train of thought that I've had for a while, and it keeps coming up. Um, and I want to talk about it. I want to kind of discuss with you guys and get your opinions and your feedback on these ideas. But normally when this kind of thing comes up, I just write a post on the Discord or message someone and ask. Or but this is a little more in depth, and it would just take too much to get to the bottom of it all through that. I don't know if I have the patience for that yet. So um, yeah, I just want to, we'll call it a rant since we're not doing um, the Friday lives at the moment. We'll see how this works out. Maybe this will be like a substitute workout. When I get some time with sit down with an idea and do one of these. But anyway, the uh, the idea at hand is around humic acid production. So, you know, most of the humic acid that you can source, like the soluble powders and liquids, are sourced from leonardite or leonardite. I don't know how you actually pronounce it, which is a mined substance. There is a significant amount of it to be mined here in the United States. From what I've read, it's not a detriment yet that we are mining so much, but one of those things that can be produced in other ways. Uh, I just don't think that those other ways have been completely thought through as to how to scale them up and make them a feasible um, replacement for leonardite extracted and processed humic acid. So first of all, like why humic acids? Why is it such a big deal for me? Because I'm a huge proponent of Korean natural farming and the use of indigenous microorganisms and other regenerative practices to rehabilitate soil that produces its own humic substances and carbon substances on its own. But there's some harsh truths and realities that I've I've kind of faced in the last few years, I guess. It's becoming more and more apparent to me that while all of the methods that we know of and are practicing these days, such as natural farming and permaculture and composting and all of that, it it will work to regenerate the planet and fix all the soils and everything without a doubt. But I do believe that we are at a point where we're going to have to do more than that to facilitate a quick enough turnaround for our efforts to be completely rewarded, so to speak. And at this point, I've found that the utilization of humic acids being one of the best ways to do that, incorporating these humic-rich materials into soils, whether it's a soluble humic or whatever. It's such a carbon-rich material. It is such a quick and easy way to get a significant amount of carbon and minerals and all of the other benefits that come along with the humic acid and fulvic acid. The problem is, scalability. How do you make that feasible and cost effective in a situation where, let's say you are a completely regenerative, vertically integrated, self-sustained operation, or you need to be because you don't have any choice. What if we do end up getting to the point where, everybody has to grow their own food all of a sudden? like I need to regenerate my backyard like ASAP, but don't have the money to invest in all this or whatever. Whatever the case may be, you need to regenerate that land quickly. I think that, excuse me, I think that humic acids are going to be a significant player in being able to accomplish that, alongside, of course, all of the other methods that we practice and talk about. So the what I'm getting to, I'm playing with all of these different ideas for different reasons and different applications as far as producing humic and fulvic acids in-house, like on a farm operation. Like if you have a natural farming farm and you have your facility where you make all of your inputs and your IMOs and store all of that, work all that, brew your teas and everything, you could dedicate a portion of that workspace, that building or whatever, to a flow through compost, vermicompost situation, and you can incorporate it that way. So that got me thinking a step further. Like we can go down a whole rabbit hole with just that alone, but then that got me thinking a step further. So I was talking about being able to do this sustainably without having to mine leonardite to extract humic acids. We could set up like just big facilities basically for vermicomposting. Those already exist, so it's feasible, and there's a really convenient, easy way to extract soluble humic and fulvic acids from vermicompost with vinegar. And if you're a natural farmer, you know that you can produce a significant amount of vinegar cheaply and easily. So I'm just thinking long term, like in the future, where we are actually collaboratively working together as farmers and producers in regenerative ways, right? We're not dealing with the fertilizer salesman anymore. We're not spraying glyphosate anymore. That's old world shit. You've got your people producing your high-end vermicompost, as well as a byproduct being able to take that leachate and extract for almost nothing the humic and fulvic acids. It can concentrate that and supply to the farmers that are growing the apples or the rice or whatever the case may be that they're making the vinegar out of to use in this extraction process. So the vermicompost extraction people are buying vinegar from these regeneratively farmed crops that the vinegar is made out of, and so on and so on. Right? That's how you really start making these things happen feasibly at our current model for food production. Obviously, we need to start going in a direction where we rely less on the larger scales, conventional type farms for our food, and learn to be more self-sustainable and work in smaller communities, so to speak. But so there's that part of all of this. The initial idea that inspired me making this video for you guys to listen to me rant about is I've thought of this vermicompost flow through system, and what am I going to feed this vermicompost system that I'm using just to extract humic and fulvic acids from, essentially, or make a compost extract here and there with it. So most worm bin systems that I've seen people build or buy or whatever, you've got your urban worm bags, you've got your plastic tote like tower systems, and even Chris Trump's worm tower thing, which is awesome. But my mind thinks, how do worms work in nature? There's no lid or sealed thing keeping them in. I'm thinking about a grassland, for instance. or forest floor, but a grassland in this particular instance, um, there are plants growing on, the earth up top, and that's falling and decomposing, and the worms coming up, eating that, and bringing it down, and so on and so forth, naturally, feeding the cycle. So I'm thinking, what if you could do a shallower, a bed, or you don't have to, but you could, a shallower and more surface area on top type worm bin system that you were actively growing certain types of crops in, right? If you start the bed like a horizontal soil system, basically, which you would need to do anyway for filtering the leachate that we're after. So you would do like a rock layer on the bottom, then a sand layer on top of that, and then soil, like actual native soil, and then your compost, and that would be like your starter bed. So there's minerals, everything's in here to sustain plant life, even before you add the worms in. So you can grow these crops, cover crops, or if you want to get really nerdy with it and like tailor it to a specific crop that you're growing, and you want the nutrients to be in a certain balance or whatever, you can do it that way. But basically, a self-perpetual worm bin, a self-feeding worm bin, just from growing these crops on top and laying it down. Yes, you will lose some of the nutrition in the soil and stuff over time as you're, extracting the leachate out, but that can be supplemented relatively easily, especially if you're using methods like Korean natural farming. You can make 1,000 gallons of fish amino acids for relatively cheap and have that to feed a worm bin consistently, just for example, or FPJ. So, catch my breath. I got excited. Yeah, the concept of having, and you could do this indoor or outdoor, like greenhouse type deal would probably be really cool. But to have a living crop on these vermicompost systems, you're not having to source materials or buy materials or food for the worms themselves. You're not having to, source all of this stuff. It is cycling as nature cycles, like how worms eat to begin with. And if you're keeping it constantly fed, free humic acids and stuff that you can, again, concentrate and build up as another input in your natural farming shelf. You've got your FPJs, your vinegars, your OHN, your FAA, and a whole nine. Now you're going to start having these containers, bottles, whatever, of concentrated humic and fulvic acids that you've been able to extract from your worm system, and you can use that to regenerate your land rapidly, right? Alongside with the IMO. You can use biochar, that's a whole nother, subject, but even with biochar, you are doing a touchy subject, but it's not as feasible in a lot of instances, and probably not the most sustainable as far as getting carbon in the soil. It is definitely beneficial, and I think it can be utilized effectively and sustainably alongside things like this. I use it and incorporate it into like the IMO4 process and such. But humic acid, very carbon rich, mineral rich, everything's just perfect about it, basically, to turn a depleted, no topsoil type situation into a black, carbon rich, microbially rich and active soil quickly, as opposed to without it, especially. So just, I know this is kind of all over the place and several different kind of ideas and topics and rabbit holes to go down, but this is kind of what my brain does on a daily basis. And I don't know, it's just interesting things, and I'd love to get, again, your guys' feedback on some of these things. Where's your head at with it? Or are there things that I mentioned that maybe I'm missing something? Maybe there are concepts to this that I have no idea about that I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it and share. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll probably upload this to YouTube and then post it in the Discord or something, because I think it's going to be way too long to upload any other way. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know if you want me to do more of this kind of stuff, because I enjoy getting to talk about it and get it off my head, off my chest. Um, yeah, that's it. The closed loop humic acid production vermicompost living situation. So, all right, y'all, I'm out.